The Ron G Morning Show, every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. only on WSAN Radio, the soul of America. Y'all, it's that time. Monday with Martha begins now. Let's welcome LeDale Hayes and hear her journey surviving just through thriving. So get ready to be inspired with Martha and LeDale. Good morning, ladies. Good morning.
Good morning, and welcome to WSAN Radio. And I just want to introduce you, first of all, to the owner and founder of WSAN Radio, Ronald Gordon. He is an amazing entrepreneur who has a heart for those businesses who suffer in silence, don't have a voice. He does very well with helping them get out there and on a platform to share with others. So, LeDale, I want to introduce you to Ronald Gordon, who is the voice of WSAN.
Before we get started,
nice to meet you.
Before we get started, hate to interrupt. Before we get started, I got a special surprise for you. Y'all ready?
LeDale?
Huh?
Yes. Yes.
Got a special surprise coming your way.
All right now.
And
that is a good surprise.
Here he
All
is.
right,
Here's your surprise guest today.
Yay! I had a feeling.
So the jet lag is worn off a little bit. Not
Oh, this is gonna be so much fun.
I had to get on here and say congratulations to my little sis. Just proud of what she has accomplished and what she's about to do. Very much a fan of her work, her future work, what she's already done in the Grand Rapids area for many, many years, working with foster care kids and working with the community. And just I can't wait to see what this next level is going to be like for her, and knowing what Martha's doing, taking over the world as well in the life coaching realm. I see it as a powerful combination. But Dale has been a fan since we kind of grew up together. That's like my sis. So I had to be on. I'm barely awake, but I'm here. But had to be here. Had to be here for Dale. So excited.
Well, this is a very good surprise. I miss my big brother.
Well, I'm back in the States now, so I'll be up there to see you soon. But just so excited for what you're about to do, for the work that you put in, and just already in the counseling field, but now what her story will be able to do and helping others to hit the next level in their life. She's one of the reasons why I have Impact behind me. She had started in this counseling team before I did. And we were looking at similar programs, and she went a different route and still did amazing things. So now she's about to take it to the next level. So very excited, and couldn't be happier to have her part of the Impact collaboration, as well as Martha, who's just I think Martha is just trying to run from us, Ron, because she's I finally get back to the United States, San Antonio, and then she goes up to Chicago. So it's crazy.
Hey, I'm just a flight away.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm just a flight, phone call, and Zoom call away.
See.
There you go.
So let me throw something in here that hope I'm not in trouble with y'all. But Joseph told me I was the only one knowing he was coming back to the States. I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And so when he showed up, they looked at me and said, "We'll deal with you later." They went to go hug Joseph, and they threatened me.
Yeah,
that is funny.
Working with the military environment, we learn to keep our movements real quiet, right? Until we do it. So Ron has been deputized. I go tell you what his official name is right now. It's inappropriate, for this professional setting. But Ron is well known. Maybe we'll say that for my show, right? I want to keep it professional on Martha's. I don't want to get too unprofessional right now, but just
that is hilarious.
Just wanted to say, man, I had to get on here I'm going to shut up here in a minute because I know y'all have other things to talk about. And just I want to hear too what sis is about to just put out here and tell her story. I don't want to tell it. I could tell it, but I ain't gonna tell it.
You could. You
And
know my story very well.
I know her story very well, but she
You
can
should.
tell it better than I can. I just want to hear it again from her. But also congratulations to my niece and nephew with graduating high school, right? So she's navigated two phenomenal young folks who are about to do great things. So involved
Uh-huh.
with that too. But anyway, I better shut up. I'm
Thank you.
talking too much.
I'm loving this. No, I'm loving this. I had a feeling you was gonna come on today, so I was really prepared for you because
And I
the
had
type
no
of
idea.
because no, I didn't
You
have
know,
an idea. I just had a feeling because the type of leader he is, and
This
how he cares so deeply about his team. And I just want to Joseph, thank you so much for coming on. I just have to say that uh, just to see you as a leader is so very, very, very inspiring for me. And how you walk your walk in your life with your
Mhm.
wife, with your child, with your child is phenomenal. And the fact that you're doing something that no other counseling center is doing, which is you invited and you see the power of a life coach and what they can do in a mental health field, which was definitely aligned with the vision that I had. So I thank you for having both of us as part of your team and that you really encourage us along the way as well. You have so much value to help us continue to grow. So thank you so much for that. And the support you give from the deal right now is huge.
Absolutely.
thank you for the kind words. But to be honest with you, Martha, I'm just following people that have paved the way for me, and Dale knows a lot of those folks, and one of them is mom. I got a shout out to mom Belinda, and just offer some love and support. I know we just lost Uncle James, here, so had to give honor and support for that. But it's what we've been talking about on the Village here, discussions here on my channel or on our show about how the Village has to come together and support, and that's what we do. That's what we should do, and that's what we have to do. But life coaching, has been something that we didn't call it that back in the day, but we had elders that used to pour into
Yes.
us and let us know when we were off
Absolutely.
track. Dale's grandfather I used to sit there and watch boxing games and sit there,
Yes.
and he used to keep me in line and let me know how to watch boxing and who was doing what. And I don't know if Dale remembers that back in the day, but I
I
used to sit.
do. I do.
See, so it's a community. It's really just a community, continuing to uplift, doing what we do, and we need to get back to that. So I'm glad to play a small part in that and continue to do that. And I see the value of life coaching because if it wasn't for folks speaking into our lives, helping us to grow, a lot of us wouldn't be in the position we are in. I know I wouldn't be, so
Absolutely.
our village
So
is tight.
true.
Even though we might not be all in the same city, we are part of the same village, and that village is now able to be connected electronically through offices. So I am going to be opening that another Grand Rapids office here. In fact, that's on my to-do list today to get that initiated. So we'll be more info on that. But they'll be having some resources up there additional that I'll be talking to her about. That's another surprise. So get ready to
Oh,
have
nice.
downtown office access
Look,
along with what you virtually. So
I'm
just
ready for it all. I'm ready.
She
well,
is, she's ready. So
ready
as
to do
we
it.
as we get into this interview, I just want to also, Ron, introduce you to LeDale Hayes. She is a life coach, a wonderful life coach. She has the heart, she has the heartbeat of the people, and she cares so deeply about the future of other people's lives. She want to walk that journey with them. She has so many valuable questions, and she know how to put a plan together for their success. So I just want to introduce you, Ron, to LeDale before we get into this interview.
All right, I appreciate it.
And
I'm
LeDale
gonna
has
call.
been
gonna find my way out of this video right now, so I can watch. But
No, stay. You don't want to stay on and
I
watch.
can.
Yeah, stay
I
on and watch
want this
it.
to be. I
And
want this
matter
to
of
be like
fact,
that.
chime in when you have a question.
Okay. All right. All right. We can do that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Any support
Absolutely.
is very much welcome.
We do not want you to leave. So,
Right.
LeDale, tell us, because I know you have over 25 years of experience in the child welfare,
Yeah,
in
I do.
in that arena, and you also have 9 years of as a correctional officer and prison counselor. Tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about that journey.
Like you said, I have over 25 years of experience with child welfare. Right out of college, I started in child welfare, working with families just to keep their children in the homes, prior to them getting into the foster care system. From there, I did take a little break and I went into corrections. I was a prison counselor. No, I was a corrections officer for 6 years, working in a housing unit. And I didn't have to wait very long to get placed in a specific housing unit. I made my plan very clear to the higher ups when I got there. My end game was not to just be a officer. That was never my end game. I wanted to be a counselor. Um, and I was blessed enough to be connected to some of the people who were higher up, and they saw something in me, and they allowed me to do things that other officers were not allowed to do. So during the count times, I was able to run small groups. Um, I was able to work closely with the housing unit manager. She was a mentor to me. She just kind of took me under her wing and let me do things that the other officers weren't doing. And when the opportunity presented itself, I was able to become prison counselor. Um, and I loved it. I really did. I loved it. I learned a lot, not just helping the inmates, because I worked with the inmates who had some type of developmental disability. And it had to be diagnosed early on in their lives. And it kind of opened my eyes to like why people do certain things. Did I agree with the things that they did? Absolutely not, because they were in prison. Was it justifying what they did? Absolutely not. But it helped me to understand things a little bit better from their perspective, which was huge. Um, then from there, I took a little break to have some twins, and I went back and got my master's. While I was staying at home, I was blessed enough to be able to stay home with my kids for at least 3 years. Unfortunately, my position at the prison, they were closing prisons around that time, so I got bumped out of my position. Um, but again, it was a blessing in disguise because I got to stay at home with my twins. I was able to further my education and get my master's in psychology. Um, then once they were school age, preschool age, I was able to go back to work. And then I went back to child welfare. So I went in as a parenting time coach, supposed to help
Okay.
parents who had their children removed, but while in training, a position became available, and I became a foster care worker instead. Um, it was very challenging. That job is not for the weak at all, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with the families that I worked with, and couple of years later, a position became available. My coworker, she was adopting some children, and she was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about adoption?" Sure, why not? I'm up for the challenge. And she made a couple of calls, and the next thing I knew, I was becoming an adoption worker. And that was very,
Wow.
very rewarding. I'm not going to lie, that was rewarding. I did that for 7 years. Um, I was able to connect and help build some families. And that was very, very rewarding, just to see the smiles on the kids' faces, just to see them find their forever home. That was a big blessing. That really was. I probably would have continued with that, but I was asked to apply for a new position that they started, which was called the Relative Engagement Specialist. And that was, they were trying to get more children in foster care with relatives. Instead of taking children away from their families, they were trying to put children back with their families, whether it's their parents or some relative. And that was very rewarding as well, just because you could see how much these families wanted to be with these children and wanted to help support. And there was really nobody reaching out to them. So they wouldn't know what was going on in the child's lives or the parents' lives. So that was very helpful because we were able to reconnect families, families who hadn't talked in years. They were stepping up to help the parents or the child, whether it's taking the child into their home or just being a support. So that was very, very helpful. Within that time, I had talked to Joseph, and he had told me about the expansion of impact with including life coaches. And he and I had had a conversation about life coaching way before that. And I think I expressed to him that I was thinking about it, but then I kind of let it fall to the wayside. Life was life. And so I didn't really think about it too much, kind of looked into other things. And yeah, it just didn't work out at that time. But life coaching never just went away from my thoughts. And then Joseph, he contacted me and was like, "Hey sis, we doing some things, and are you still thinking about that life coaching?" And I was like, "Absolutely. I just have to figure out a few things, and I've been looking into it." And he was like, "Well, yeah, do that, and we gonna make some stuff happen." And I did. I found a coach who was able to get me certified, and through that certification, she coached me. And coaching is something that I didn't know that I needed, but I did. And it was very helpful. It helped me get unstuck because I think I was stuck in a situation and in a position that was not fulfilling anything in me. It was draining me. And I know we talked about boundaries the other day. I was not setting those boundaries. And, I was like waiting and waiting, and my health was getting bad because of the stress. And, sometimes we have a plan or we think we know what's going to happen, but God has a bigger plan for us. And if we don't do what God is wanting us to do when He wants us to do it, He will put it in our face and make us do what He wants us to do. And that's exactly what happened. I didn't understand the situation at the time, but hey, you know what? Once I thought about it, I was like, this is exactly what I've been asking God to do. And He did it. And I continued to work with my coach. Then I talked to Joseph, and he was like, okay, all the impact team is going to work with Martha. She's going to mentor everybody, and I want you to start working with her and, see where we're just going to see where everything goes. And I know everything's going to be great. And that's kind of how I got here. I completed my certification with my coach Tamara, and I started working with Martha. And yeah, here I am now. I was able to, I think we started working with each other in October, and you gave me some tasks.
October. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gave me some very clear tasks, and you said you wanted me to have certain things done by March. And by March, I had my business up and running, my website up and running, and yeah, here I am. I'm a whole coach over here now.
Yes. And you know what made it so easy to mentor you is your ability to be present and show up and do the work. You were, you just needed someone to walk the journey with you, and that's what I was there for. the most, I'm seeing from what you had told me, you you have went from child welfare, where you deal with children, families. You have so much experience, life experience. And remember when I told you your degrees and your certifications are not for you, they for the people that want to hire you. You already have everything in you to do what you're doing because you were called to do it, and you have so much life experience in it. You are dealing with children before they hit the system.
Yes.
And then you dealt with adults that was in the system.
Yes.
So this is what Mental Health Awareness Month. When you were dealing with families, children, and adults. What were some of the issues that you saw the most? I know you've seen a lot because you have dealt with a lot, but what are some that you saw the most?
Everything stemmed around childhood trauma and family trauma. You see that a lot, and it was almost like a cycle. Young adults having children, they had their own trauma that they never dealt with. They didn't feel supported. They just felt like everything was against them or everyone was against them. So it was all based on cycles of trauma. Um, and them not knowing how to get the help or knowing that they could get the help. A lot of us think that counseling is taboo or it's not for us in our community. But that's not the truth. And then again, there were so many young parents that, like Joseph said, when we were growing up, we had like my grandfather, some of us had our great grandparents helping support and guide and be there for us. If our parents couldn't do something, our grandparents were taking up the slack to take care of us and help us and support us, or even grandparent or great grandparents, aunts and uncles, you know what I mean? And I'm seeing that with so many people in the child welfare system right now. The grandparents are younger than me. I just turned 50 years old, and I'm proud of that. And I don't have any grandkids, thank you, Jesus. But there's so many grandparents that are like in their 30s, in their 40s, and they still want to live their life. And then their children are in their teens and early 20s and having kids of their own and just not really knowing how to parent. So I saw a lot of that. And then once their children are in foster care, it was more like, well, you just want to take my kids and you want to tell me what to do, and I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And it was like, hold on. It's not about them taking your kids. A lot of parents would confuse foster care with CPS, Child Protective Services. And once they have that in their mind, they didn't want to listen to anybody else. And I was blessed enough to be able to, I guess, clearly communicate with some of the parents that I worked with, where I was like, okay, wait a minute, I know you're upset. I would be upset too. However, I'm not the ones that took your child. My job is to help you get them back. And if you want to get them back, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And I know that it's a lot, but at the end of the day, this is your child. And what are you willing to do to get your child? And I would say all the time, I don't care what people throw at me. If my child is not with me, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get them back. And I would try to get other people to understand that. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Even if the parents got to the point of saying, you know what, I'm not in a position to take care of my child. And that happened a couple of times, and that was big. Like for them to go from a point of fighting the system to realizing, you know what, I can't do this right now. I need help. My child is better off where they are as long as I can be involved. And I was able to work with some families in doing that, where they would release their rights. The foster family would adopt. but they would stay in touch with the parents so that the parents could continue to see their child grow. So things like that were very, very rewarding. Was it difficult? Absolutely. But you know how sometimes you do something and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. But then something happens and your cup just starts running over. That kept me in child welfare for all those years. Um, Even once I wasn't working with the children and just working with the families, it was still so rewarding to help some families get reconnected. And I would, I felt like I was always counseling somebody just because the families didn't know the system. I would try to help them understand it. And that the system is, whew, if you're not in it, you're not going to understand it. It's hard, and you need somebody to walk with you and do that. And I felt that I had that desire to do that. I didn't want people just left hanging. You know, someone would tell them, well, this is what you have to do, but they're not explaining it. I wanted to be the one explaining that stuff to the family so that they would clearly understand what was going on, know what to expect. Because a lot of people will go and say, well, this is a temporary situation. Okay, but temporary to one person might be a week or two. Temporary in child welfare can be a year or more. And people were not understanding that. So yeah, it was just helping them and going through that journey of child welfare, and even in corrections, helping some of the inmates realize, like, okay, you do realize you did something to get put in prison, right? And some of them, because of their cognitive disability, they weren't understanding it. They just knew they got thrown into prison, and they have their families telling them, well, you didn't do anything. You did something. Like, you got to think about it. You did something. So what do you think you did? And there were a couple of guys that I was able to help them realize, oh, but my family said as long as I didn't do something to somebody outside the family, it was okay. And the only reason I'm in prison is because I stepped outside the family. Okay, well, do you see that that's a problem? You know? And yeah, I've always wanted to help people. I didn't know what capacity I would be helping people, but I have the desire to help people. I want to help them figure things out. I want to help them be the best versions of themselves because people have always helped me. So that's what I want to give back.
Well, LeDale, thank you so much for sharing that, because is not easy. I'm sure dealing with that, the state and all of the regulations and things of that nature. I'm sure it's not easy. Then you got to deal with the heart of the thing, the heart of the matter, which is, especially when you're dealing with children, and that had to be I'm sure you had to deal with some heartbreak and some of the things that, that got you there. Which part of your career did you like the most, the child welfare or the corrections?
That's a very good question. I don't think I can say I liked one more than the other. I enjoyed working in the prison. A lot of people think that sounds crazy, but I did. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed helping. I enjoyed seeing some of the young men, get themselves together and go home and become successful. That was rewarding to me. Just seeing somebody walk out those doors and not seeing them come back, that was huge. And that I enjoyed my coworkers. Some of them. We always have that one or two that you get like, oh yeah, I can do what else to do. But then with child welfare, I think there was a different part of me that was being fulfilled by that. I had, like, in my office, which is my back porch, I have pictures that families have made for me. I had one family that they did a family tree with their hands, and I have it hanging up on my wall. And then I have a big picture thing with all, like a lot of the kids that I worked with and a lot of the families that were built, like were connected because of the work that I did with them. I still have contact with a lot of my families, and I love seeing how they have grown. I worked with a family who couldn't conceive on their own. They adopted three beautiful little girls. And then a couple years later, she got pregnant. And now she has two biological children. But if you look at them, you wouldn't know that they adopted these girls. They don't treat them any differently. Their families don't treat them any differently. The girls are thriving. That is a whole nother level of fulfillment right there. Just seeing where the kids end up and how they end up, that part right there is the reward for me because I can see that worked out. Do they all work out? No. But nothing is 100%. But just to see the ones that have worked out and to know that I helped those families fight too, whether it was with a relative or somebody else, just knowing that I helped those families and I did what was in the best interest of those children, because that was always the top priority, the best interest of the children. That was very rewarding.
And that's the heart that you have. And that's what's going to get you, that's what's going to make you so successful, your experience and the heart that you have. So I just want to, before I finish, Joseph, you have any questions? Ron, do you want to anyone of you want to chime in before I go further?
I don't know, Ron, did you have anything? I had something I kind of wrote down that I wanted to say, but I know it's pretty quiet back there. I don't know what if he has anything.
Yeah, I just want to ask this one question. More like, I hate to speculate. Okay, so don't get me wrong. Dealing with the youth and then dealing with the prison system right there, where do you think the downfall was at from being with the youth going up and being in the prison system? It had to be some break in there. I heard y'all discussing that it wasn't for your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents. Do you think that some of the kids was missing that and ended up in the system?
I do. I do. But I also know that some of the young men that I met in the prison, they were older. And when I say older, I mean like 17, 18. So I know at some point, you can only teach your kids so much. I have two 17-year-olds. I would bust my butt, and I have busted my butt trying to make sure they have everything that they need, are going in the right direction. But at some point, I can't make all the decisions for them. And I think some of the young men that were in prison, I think at some point, they were making decisions on their own, not listening to some of their parents. I don't think that was the case because there were some, like especially the young men that were locked up for selling drugs or had some type of drug charge. A lot of them felt that they had to take care of home, and that was the only way that they could do it. So they felt a sense of being in control of providing for their families. And I think that, I can't say that their parents were wrong for letting them go out and do that or not stepping up and being the parents. I can't say that. But I did see a lot of that. And when I talked to them, they didn't have their grandparents. They didn't have that village. It was more along the lines of, now you see where, well, I don't want you talking to my child. Why'd you say that to my child? You don't see that village anymore. And I think that was that's one of the big downfalls, whether it's in the prison system or the child welfare. Because again, with child welfare, you see these children coming into foster care. The parents aren't listening to their parents. They don't have the aunts and uncles all around them because for one reason or another, they tried to cut them out of their lives. So it's like the whole idea of village is not as present as it was. And I do think that is a big part of the downfall.
Right.
You are so right. Go ahead, Joseph.
Well, that's a perfect segue, right? Because
Yes.
that's why on the Impact Hour we've been talking about now for, I don't know, it's been a few months now about the village, right? So we've been connecting and shout out to folks in Okinawa, Japan. That we'll be connecting with it, where it's a worldwide village now that we need to connect, but also connect with people to fill that void. Um, and that's what I saw the need early on when I developed Impact. There's the psychosis part, right, where there's clinical needs for things like depression, trauma, and early on, Dale was talking about the trauma that a lot of these folks had, gone through that spawns all these other life choices or decisions and situations. So there's the clinical piece, whereas impact comes in, but then there's a life coaching piece where people need to have somebody to help them to walk with them, help them to kind of recognize that, hey, maybe there's something going on here that you need to look at. And unfortunately, when we started years, I think it's now been what, 2 years? I don't know how long have we been doing this, Ron? 2 years. But we started talking about how we have so much misinformation. What happens in this house stays in this house. How many people have heard that, right? And how often does that never happen, right? What happens in this house does not just stay in this house. It happens generationally through multiple houses, affecting multiple families. And that's how we have to kind of get into and break through this misinformation that has affected our communities, affected our mindsets, affected, just like Dale said, there are people that are in jail that didn't understand why they're necessarily there. Because they were operating from a mindset that this is acceptable. And we could also talk about the mindset of how many youth, actually think that it's a badge of honor to go to prison, right? Which makes no sense whatsoever. When we came up, when me and Dale came up, if you went to prison, that was something to be ashamed of, right? It wasn't something that you put out as like, hey, I did time or whatever the case might be. No, you're not supposed to do time, because what actually happens, there's no way that I could be doing some of the jobs that I do, getting some of the contracts that I've gotten if I have a record. Now, I know we live in an inverse society where we actually have a president that has 34 felonies. That doesn't usually work so well for people, right? So we've got to really have that void filled. And that's one of the things I saw. And it's real simple. I remember that village being fully intact, where we had aunts, we had uncles, we had people that were blue collar, we had people that were, in the doctors. In Auburn Hills neighborhood where I came up, we had people that had PhDs on down to no degrees, but were always doing things that they needed to help uplift the community and ready to pour into us. So that's where my concept came from, seeking somebody like Dale that has over 20 years experience. And that's the big misconception, that you have to have a PhD or you have to have this or that. No, you have to have life experience.
Yes.
You have to have passion for wanting to help people. And that's the difference of what I look for. So I chose to work with Dale because I know her story. I know her life experience, and I've watched for over 2 decades the work that she's been doing. And it's reflected a lot of the things that I remember when I was doing parent nurturing and helping folks try to, come back with their families, and some of it lost their kids to the system, and just understanding that you really have to have knowledge of how to navigate that system, like Dale said, but also you got to recognize, psychosis. We've had folks that had schizophrenia, and we're trying to get their kids back. Well, that's not necessarily going to work out so well, right? Unless you have the proper supports, maybe when you're good and you're not going through an episode, you can go to a stable environment to see your child. But you've got to understand what's going on. You got to have people that are trained clinically to know when there's a problem, and you got to know when there's somebody that just needs to be coached, need to get to that next level and get out of being stuck. And we all need that at times, right? So that's why it's so important. That's why I'm so proud to have Dale a part of the team, but also having her own business and practice as well, and working with Martha, because that's what it takes. That's how the village continues to do what it's supposed to do. And that's it.
True. And I like the village I love the village aspect, because you, just like LeDale, you have decades of experience of helping, preventative, where you're dealing with the children and then adults already have been there, you see from the beginning, like Ron said, to the adult, that's huge. You can go to school for all that, but to be in the mix of it and with the experience is totally different because you was in the
Right.
heartbeat of it. And so that's why I'm glad I'm bringing it up, because you may have just opened your business, but you've been in business for over decades.
Right.
And I want to really, really hone in on that.
Mhm.
So, and you have seen trauma up close and personal and the effects of it. So my next question to you is, having worked in that environment, where you saw trauma, you dealt with burnout, but also you saw people operate in survival mode on a daily basis, trying to just make it through and through. How has that shaped the way you're gonna coach in the future?
I just want to, excuse me, just being able to see all of that and see people in different stages of their situations. I want to be able to meet people where they are. That's what I've learned is most important, meeting people where they are, whether they are at the tail end of a situation or their crisis, whether they're just stepping into it or in the midst of it. I want to be able to meet them where they are, because I've noticed just through the years that a lot of people don't do that. They want to have people do something where in that moment they're not mentally able to process that. So I want to do, and I have that on my website, meeting people where they are to help them get to where they want to go. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to be able to meet people exactly where they are in their situation and help guide them and walk beside them to get them to where they want to go. That's just where that's what I want to do.
Awesome. Awesome. And in your, role as a life coach,
Mhm.
how do you think mentorship, what role do you think that has played along with being a part of impact? What do you see in your heart for the future in the role that you're in now? How it's going to bridge the gap in your career?
I think if I wasn't part of this, I would be lost. I think I really would be. I would eventually get to where I need to be, but I think having you as a mentor, having Joseph as a big brother and a listening ear and a motivator, even if I'm saying or talking about something that's off the wall, he's listening, but he helps get me back on track. Um, I think that has been big, and I think that's going to be big because it'll allow me to help more people. If there are people that I'm not able to help, or I feel that I can't help because they need a little bit more, love the idea of having a team where I can say, okay, you know what, this isn't specifically what I can work on or help you with, but you know what, let me refer you to this person. And even if I'm referring you to a therapist to help you deal with your past and the mental health piece, I can stay right here with you. I don't have to like abandon you. I can still be your coach and walk beside you. I think I've heard Martha say that quite often, and I don't think I had thought about that until I've heard Martha say that, and you said that to me. Like even if you refer somebody to a therapist, you can still be there to support them.
Mm.
And I like that team effort or village effort to help people. And I think that's going to be something that Impact does that I have been seeing other people do. And I think that's going to be big in helping people and reaching more people.
And it's true because we, 9 times out of 10, when someone says, okay, I'm gonna refer you, they don't call. and they get lost in the system. So that's why we really want to make sure that we keep that. It's not about making a dollar. It's about making sure that you got somebody to walk alongside that journey with you, like a village is made to be. So Joseph, you opening up an office in where she is. Tell us more about that.
Well, I had an office over in Kenmore, and I want to move it to downtown Grand Rapids. We have the interest. I've been looking at the numbers, and I think it's just a better location. It'll be closer to my home that I have up there. Want to definitely, and I think it'll be a little more accessible to folks like Dale, that when they need to have meetings and conferences and workshops, which I'm sure that will be coming up. And also when I fly in, I don't want to have to drive too far. So I want to be able to get right there. So it's a little bit selfish, but I just know I see, I've learned to watch multiple places at the same time. So I know the Grand Rapids area downtown is booming. It's evolving. So it just seems like the logical really coming home, because I started with an office in downtown Grand Rapids. So it's good to be able to come back and be the sole owner of my office in Grand Rapids with, for the impact team collaboration. And a part of this is ownership, right? One of the things I learned about Auburn Hills is that we owned things there. We own the homes. We own that community. So when you own things, you can control the destiny. You don't have to worry about the politics of the so-called DEI. No, we are DEI. We are, achievement. We are history, and we're going to continue to make history, so that when they try to get our history out of things like schools, or whatever, well, we can continue to keep it right there by running our own schools, running our own practices, and then we don't have to navigate that. And I think that's a part of it. One of the things about West Michigan is that they've tried to lock us out of ownership, lock us out of involvement. So what Impact is about is breaking that threshold. That's what that crack in that wall is, because we're going to break through and create our own. And that's what I love about this. We're on a station that's owned by Ron, a practice that's owned by me, and a collaboration that's run by me, but owned by all of us. All of us are owners. See, that's part of the secret to the success. We all own, and we can all create. And that's why it's going to be hard to slow us down or stop us, because we are all owners, right? And that creates precedent for the next generation, and also shows an example, because when you walk in and you own something and you own that experience that goes along with it, then that automatically causes a change and a synergy that, I find real important to have at this time, right? Because there's efforts to try to de-evolve that motion. There's a lot of thought that went into who I chose. I chose to work with people that have not only the credentials, but the life experience and the passion and the spiritual foundation. And that's a combination that I know is going to be successful, right? So even though I may have health things that I'm dealing with, or whatever the case may be, I always want to have things set up so that no matter what happens, this thing is going to grow and continue to grow like a tree with deep roots and spread out. So that's what that's about, and that's what we have to do, I think, in this new political environment.
That's awesome. And then what I like about it too is that, when you do have workshops in Michigan, we can all come
on
and be a part of it and support.
That's right.
No matter which state you're in.
That's right. Long as a potato pie is in there somewhere for me, I'm fine. So I have Mom hook that up. That's an inside joke, because
she got you. She got you.
I know it. See, and Ron, you got to get your own, man. Don't even try to
see.
Get mine. Don't see. I already know you already looking at that. But anyway, so that's.
I'll tell her to make two. I got you, Ron.
Okay,
all
thank
you. I'm getting both of them. I'll give you one piece. But all right, so
one piece, but
that's it. Well, I mean, that's it. It's a family affair. That's what the village was about. We come together, and here's the thing, right? You can have the credentials, you can have the alphabet, but if you don't have that instinct, right? And if you don't have the understanding of our own cultural differences and things of that nature, it becomes a part of that system that people avoid. So when people know that we understand not just what's going on, but we understand them and we're passionate about wanting to help, but then also have the ability, that's where the difference is made. So I know what's about to happen with Dale. I know what's about to happen, and it's already happening with Craig, who's going to be involved with Grand Rapids, but he's going to come on down here, to San Antonio. But, we're going to continue to grow this thing, and now that the template is set, the impact team is growing and going for at least this next year and a half. I'm going to be completely focused on the team as a whole growing. Impact, we've been pretty successful. I'm blessed to be able to say that, but it's not about just one organization. It's about all of us achieving.
Yes.
That's what it has to be about. So.
And LeDale, you were just on a round table on Saturday. Just by the way, you did a wonderful job joining us in that conversation and bringing so much value to the people.
Thank you. That was exciting.
Yeah, and it's always to do that, because on our Facebook pages we have our friends and family, right? But those are people that see us, but we need other people to see us. So going on other platforms is always my goal for you.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate
continue
that too.
to get you out there, because the more you show, you're already a leader, but you're a leader within your community. But I want the world to see this leader that's coming up with decades of experience that can help so many people. And that's what you're going to do in the future. You're going to do so many things. And we, as you know, we still in you're still in the mentorship program, which is awesome. And what we have coming up is that she's going to actually learn, which is also the seven streams of income business model.
I'm looking forward to it.
That only us as a village will be have privilege too. So we have so many things coming up, and we have to join forces so we can continue to encourage each other to move forward, because we have so many things that can pull us back, and it ain't even our abilities, it's our mindset, it's the hurdles that try to come in our way because of our skin color. We as a village, we can overcome that and push forward and encourage each other to move forward and support one another. We don't have enough of our people supporting each other. We are too much in competition, but this is not the way we are here. We come on, let's lift each other up. So
I just wanted to say something because I think we just dropped something real quick and it was real fast, but I need this to be highlighted. Martha just said you're about to go through a 7-stream income earning piece. So take a second to just understand that most businesses struggle to get 1 or 2 streams.
That is true.
7-stream income.
Within a coaching model.
And then we have the clinical model with Impact, which has, the billing of insurance and all that and all that stuff that goes along with the clinical piece.
And it does transfer to the clinical model, by the way.
And it does. And we're going to be talking about that clinical piece down the line. There's some things that me and Martha have talked about. But here's the thing. Whatever business you're doing, if you're not talking about an income stream or multiple income streams, businesses fail, right? But then we're talking about something that's going to also uplift the community and uplift what is going on. And when you think about what a community needs, if you don't have your mindset right, you're going to fail. That's one of the things I think we have. And if the family structure is struggling, the community is going to struggle, period. Because the first definition of the community is the family structure. So addressing that, we address what's going on in the community. We're teaching how to grow successful businesses, ownership. That's what was the secret to success that got us thus far. And regardless of what goes on in DC, as long as we are controlling what's going on in our own communities, that's what's going to change the paradigm, right? And
Exactly.
stop the erosion of the communities. But it's not a quick process. But it is definitely
No, it's not.
it definitely an effective one. So I just couldn't let you get past that. 7 streams of income. That's a big deal. That is a
And
That's
you
a
know what? The Lord gave it to me, and it's biblical. It's in Ecclesiastes 11:2,
come on.
okay.
and He gave it to me. He gave me the model for it, and and He's sending people my way to help get it done. So
Come on with it.
it's amazing, and I just, like I said, the village.
So in the village, we're gonna help people and we're gonna
Yeah.
eat.
Yes.
Let me repeat that. So some of us may not understand. We're gonna help to feed, and we're gonna help, and we're
Mhm.
gonna eat, right? And then
Yes.
we're gonna leave wealth for our other generations, behind us. So this is not something that's just lightly thought of. I'm so excited for what I'm seeing, to be a part of it. And I saw the void, and I saw how we could have effective folks that look like us, and not just us. I mean, we have other folks that have always been allies to our causes, our mission, but we have to understand and perpetuate the fact that we have to own this village.
Right.
This is our village. Now, other people can come, other
Mhm.
can be a part of, but just understand
Mhm.
who owns it.
Right.
Yes.
And
And it
then
was what's amazing is that, LaDale, I told Ron always, there go another stream of income, Ron.
See?
But he's part of the model that we have where we incorporate him into the things that we're doing that,
Yeah.
because of what he's doing as well. We support one another. And that's how we do it as a village. He has so many gifts. He has the radio. And so we come together and I bring people to his radio station
right.
because
I,
that's an
I'm
income
just
stream.
blessed. Right. I'm just blessed and I'm thankful to have you guys want me to be a part of this. Like, I'm thankful that you brought me into this. I'm thankful that I'm excited about what is to come. Like, if you had asked me a few months ago, like, or told me you're gonna be on a podcast, on a radio station, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But you guys are opening up things that I never imagined. And I'm just excited to see where everything goes. I'm excited to be part of this team. I'm just excited and I'm ready to do whatever you need me to do so that we can help people. And like you said, help our community and get that sense of village back intact.
Absolutely. And we're gonna do it.
That's it.
And so, yeah. So Liddell,
Yes,
if
ma'am.
you can give one piece of advice to the audience, what would that be?
Don't give up on yourself. Um, ask for help when and if you need it. And accept the help when it's given to you. Just don't give up. That's all I can think of right now because I'm thinking about myself, you know. I think I was at a point where I wanted to give up, and then I have this team of wonderful people who are like, nope, don't give up. Keep going. It's gonna be okay. And no matter, like you said, things take time. It's not gonna be overnight, but you can get to where you need to be. You really can, and it's okay to get some help.
And you know what? She's not just saying it, she actually walked through it.
I'm walking it now. I'm living it now. I'm watching it as my kids are graduating. You know, that my life hasn't been easy. It's not just the experience that I've worked with people. I've lived some of this stuff. And just to see like my kids graduating. Come on now, people had counted my son out. And then we found out he was autistic and made some changes in his school and his life. And now he is graduating been on honor roll all 4 years of high school. Like, come on now, God is doing some great things, not just in other people's lives, but in our lives. And we can use all of that to help people who think that they're the only ones. So yeah, it's not just you, it's all of us, and we can help you.
Yes. All right, Ron, you have anything closing remarks before we finish? Because we at the hour.
Yeah. All I could say, what a powerful way to start off this week. A huge thanks to LeDale for sharing her heart and her purpose. And Martha continued to give us the space to heal every Monday. I appreciate that. And I slid in this surprise guest in here, Joseph Lee. But I want you to remember one thing. I heard this from Martha and other people. We don't compete, we complete.
Mhm.
It's all about
Ooh,
where you start
okay.
and about how you keep rising and keep pushing and growing. And make sure you grow with other people and pass things along to them. I agree with y'all. This is a village. This is a village that's been going on for years. It's just ready to bust loose now.
I don't know how many times we share information, Ron and myself and Joseph and even LeDale. We share information like, okay, let me tell you what I found out about this. Even Craig, Craig has a lot of information he shared. I've learned a lot, even though they my mentees, I learned a lot from them. And that's what's awesome because I'm growing with them. And so it makes it just that much more powerful. And so, like I said, Joseph, thank you for believing in us. And it's an honor to be on Impact Team. It's an honor to be part of WSAN Radio, Ron. And LeDale, you're gonna go so far with your coaching business. And I'm so proud of you. And because you have the heart.
I just appreciate all of you. I really do. And I do. I don't know what else to say. I just appreciate you all, and I appreciate these opportunities that continue to be presented before me that I never thought would happen. So yeah, I'm thankful, I'm blessed. I'm just grateful. Thank you.
So Dale, give everybody that website, before we leave.
Yes.
Yes,
So
the
we
website.
can
See,
make sure. And I'm gonna tell you, put that on the background the next time I see you,
it's
so we
yes.
can have that on the background for you. A little coaching tip, in terms of financial and advertising. So we'll get
Yeah, we
that
working on
also.
that. Yeah, we working on that part with her
Mm,
too. Because
We
I do have mine. I don't put it up all the time. I don't know why I
Well, you see,
don't, but
that's why. See, you so big, Martha.
yeah.
You don't need to put yours up there.
no, I ain't that big yet. But yeah, we gonna work. We gonna work on that. Yeah, we gonna work.
Look how quickly Martha got hers up there, though. That's the funny part. She hit a
She
button.
did.
I swear, what this Martha's something else. Let's see that. See
So
that's
yeah,
what I'm talking
LeDale,
about.
you see
Get
how I
your
got my podcast, my website.
Real
You gonna
quick.
do the same thing. Your
right there,
information.
phone number, everything, just right there. I gotta move to find my website. Hold on, man. I can't even get mine on there. But anyway, so hey,
Yep.
I'm so proud of
Yes.
you. What's that website again? What is it there?
That website is lhcoachingllc.com. Again, lhcoachingllc.com.
That's what we're
And yes,
talking
that is
about.
one of my assignments from Martha to do my little backdrop, and that is coming. So the next time you see me, it
Right.
will be up.
Yeah, because I have a
Oh
feeling
yeah.
that you're going to be a guest on another show, the Impact Hour here soon. So,
Imagine that.
I have a feeling. I don't know. That's probably going to happen at some point. But,
Our
we'll
little
be
birdie
talking
told you, okay.
soon. And so proud to come in and just surprise you like that. And hey, that's what it's about, So
I
proud of
love
the
it.
moment.
I
Love
do
you guys. And I've got a jet here. I got 2 or 3 calls that I'm supposed to be on.
All right. Thank you so
Addition,
much
I
for
had to
coming
be.
too.
on.
Thank you.
And
Bye-bye.
thank you so much,
All right,
LeDale,
Joseph.
for
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna get
thank you
back with
so much.
Martha. When she was talking about that 7 streams of income, every time
Mhm.
I open up my mouth, Martha said, "There's another one. There's another
Hey,
one. There's another one." I'm thinking I'm up to 8 or 9 right about now, Martha.
yeah, I tell them that. you have to count that. And it's important because sometimes we just doing, but we're not thinking about the resources the information we're providing. And it helps us value what we have, as well as understand that it's not about the money, but it's people don't value when you put you can get free services, right? And you be, the kindest person in the world. But I guarantee you, those are going to be your bad reviews. People don't value when they don't have skin in the game.
That's true.
And so we want to make sure that people show up. We charge so you can show up. We have a heart. We can do it for free, but it's not going to open the doors. It's not going to keep the doors open, and it's not going to make you show. People do not show up when it's free because they don't see the value. And so we have to understand that even as, African Americans, we don't want to say to our people, can I get a deal? Because you're devaluing my abilities by saying that, because we can go somewhere else and that would never come out of our mouth. So we have to stop doing that to each other and value the services that we offer. And so, I just want to thank you for coming on, because you are amazing, Coach. And I'm so happy that, I'm so happy that I had just to cross your path. It's been an honor.
Thank you. I appreciate all the help. And even when I'm feeling like I don't know if I can do this, I love that you continue to encourage me and support me and be like, you're already doing it. I appreciate all of that. I really, really do.
And no, don't ever forget your decades of experience.
Yes. That point right
So,
there.
with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Ron.
Okay. All right. I appreciate y'all coming on today. Everybody, we did have some difficulties in the beginning with Facebook, but we're broadcasting on our other channel, our Twitch channel. So stay tuned later on today. There'll be a replay of this show so everybody can see it. But other than that, thank you, Martha. Thank you, Miss Hayes, for coming on. I'll probably see you, because Joseph planned on me coming up there to Grand Rapids. I don't know. He volunteered me I was going.
He liked to tell people what to do.
I can drive there now. I'm close enough.
3 hours. 3 hours.
Yep,
That's
3
it.
hours.
I may just drive there, because I'll be up there June 2nd.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, y'all take care.
I'll be here then.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, and we'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to WSAN Radio. Catch us on our YouTube channel, WSAN Radio SA. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button.